Welcome back to Storytime Sunday, where a little Disney magic and a spark of imagination turn into adventures you'll never forget. Today, we're unlocking a mystery hidden in plain sight, a tale of maps in the sky, secret clues in the park, and a treasure only the fireworks could reveal. So grab your popcorn, lean in close, and let's see where the story takes us. It was one of those perfect Disney nights. The air was warm. Main Street smelled like popcorn and churros. The castle shimmered under the sky, just dark enough for magic. The crowd hushed as the first fireworks shot upward, blooming into bursts of color that lit up every smiling face around me. I've seen the show 100 times, but that night, something was different. The bursts weren't random. Between the reds and golds, I saw lines. Lines that connected one explosion to another, like someone had drawn with a sparkler in the sky. Pattern was strange, almost familiar. And then it hit me. It was a map. Not just any map, this map, Disneyland. And there, in the glowing trails of light, a single golden X shimmered above the outline of the rivers of America. The fireworks faded, the music swelled, and I stood there thinking, that's just not a picture, that's a path. The next morning, I boarded the first raft to Tom Sawyer Island. The wooden planks creaked under my feet, and the cool mist from the river carried the scent of moss and old wood. I wandered past the old fort, through the winding dirt paths, until I reached Pirate's Lair. Inside the dim cave, lantern flickered against stone walls, and there, mounted to one rock in the very back, was an old spyglass. I leaned in, expecting nothing, but through the lens, far across the river, I saw the Jungle Cruise dock, and on one of the platforms, a crate. Not just any crate, this one had bold black stenciling, a string of numbers, and a familiar white glove hand painted on the side, pointing inland. I had to see it up close. An hour later, I was on the Jungle Cruise, listening to the skipper's corny jokes about Nile crocodiles and the backside of water. We rounded a bend, passing the safari camp scene, and there it was, the crate. Up close, I could read the numbers 8, 14, 53, and just below it, in small letters, the message, "The kitchen is where it's cooked up." The pointing glove made sense now. It wasn't pointing to the river, it was pointing to Toontown. Mickey's house is a pure cartoon chaos. Pots boiling, clocks dancing, furniture alive. I stepped in the kitchen and scanned every detail, looking for something out of place. And there it was. On the fridge, painted between a loaf of bread and a jug of milk, was a tiny Tomorrowland poster. In the bottom corner, written in tiny block letters, was another piece of the code, DLST1. On the counter nearby, a glass jar sat with the label, Star Tours. A paper cutout of the Millennium Falcon was taped to the lid, the nose of the ship pointing like an arrow toward the park's futuristic skyline. Tomorrowland gleamed in the afternoon sun. I followed the Falcon's direction straight to the astral orbiter, where I found a small metal plate fixed near the queue. The writing on it wasn't English, it was Arabic, the Star Wars alphabet. I scribbled it down and later translated it to Cargo Bay 77. Galaxy's Edge feels like stepping onto another planet. All market chatter, the smell of roasting meat, the hum of ships in the distance. I found Cargo Bay 77 tucked behind a stack of weathered containers near the marketplace. The latch was loose. Inside, buried in fabric, was a small crystal sphere, smooth, warm to the touch. I lifted it to the sunlight, and a holographic Mickey Mouse flickered into view. "Gee, pal, you did it," he grinned. "You've unlocked the magic, and now it's your turn to hide it again. Keep the code safe, and keep the magic alive." As the hologram faded, the final piece of the code appeared, glowing inside the crystal. When I combined it with the others from each location, it made no sense at all, unless you count the fact that it spelled HAPPY. That night, I stood in the crowd again, watching the fireworks. The bursts traced their familiar lines across the sky, a hidden path only I knew about. And I thought to myself, the fireworks don't just light up the sky, sometimes they light the way. And that, my friends, is how the night sky became the treasure map. Thank you for joining me for this week's Storytime Sunday. I love sharing these magical adventures with you, but next week, well, let's just say the cinnamon sugar is about to fly. It's the ultimate food war, a forbidden love between two treats who were never meant to be together. You won't want to miss this. Until then, keep the magic alive, and I'll see you next Sunday.